There's a lot of great golf tips out there, but the vast majority of those tips, they're designed for the younger golfer. What if you're not a younger golfer anymore? What if you're like an experienced golfer or a senior golfer? Well, today I'm going to give you some tips specifically for the older golfer that can help you pick up some speed and some distance with your driver. I'm PGA teaching professional Todd Kolb, and one of the first things I always think about when I'm giving a golf lesson is what is the person in front of me capable of doing? And as we get older, the limitations that come with aging are different than when we're younger. And today I'm going to give you some specific tips on how we can add some club head speed to your driver. Now, hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to join our family here at US Golf TV. We're putting out great content. We're hearing from people all over the world, and we love hearing from them, and we want to help you play some better golf. So be sure to subscribe. Be sure to ring that bell also so you get notifications when we're putting good information out. Now, let's dive right into this. I'm going to go through 3 different things here that can really help you increase your club head speed for the senior golfer. We're going to talk about the setup. We're going to talk specifically about the backswing, how your backswing should be different as you get older than when you're younger. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the 3 power sources in the golf swing, and specifically the one that we can still use, the one that's still available to us as we get older. And then the last thing is I'm going to give you a nice little tip at the end to kind of get you some arm speed and really get you going. So let's dive right into it. So we're going to talk about the setup. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get set in here. And I've got my live view right here in front of me. One of the things I love training here at the Golf Academy is I love working with my live view because it literally gives instant feedback for my students. So I've got it set up here on the face on, and I've got 2 lines on here. 2 red lines, you can see them right there. Now, I just put those lines on there as reference points, and I got them just sitting there kind of off my hips. All right, just kind of off my hips, kind of going on the inside of my heels. Now, the first thing I want you to do in the setup, we're going to talk about a couple things, but the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your toes and you're going to flare them out a little bit. So if my toes are square, see how they match up with those lines right there? I'll kind of move them in there. There you go. See that? They're dead perfectly square. Now that's okay when you got a lot of flexibility, a lot of hip rotation, those types of things. When you have flexibility, you can stand like that when you're young. But as we get older, we lose flexibility. So what we're going to do is we're going to flare those toes out a little bit. All right? That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is we got to give ourselves a chance to rotate a little bit easier. So what you're going to do is you got your toes out, you're going to take your stance and you're going to actually close it slightly. So if my previous stance right here is nice and square, all right, parallel to my target line, all right, I'm going to close it a little bit and I've got my toes out. All right, the last thing that you're going to do is I want you to actually close your hips a little bit too. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because, as I've already said, as we get older, we lose some flexibility and rotation. So what we're going to do is we're going to preset that turn. All right, so let's think about this. If I want, for sake of discussion, in my backswing to have, let's say, 45 degrees of hip turn and 90 degrees of shoulder turn, just as a rough example. Well, if I can preset that turn with my aim and my hips already rotated to the target line, let's say 10, 15 degrees, now I can get to that 45 and 90 much easier, even though I don't have the same flexibility that I would have before. So that's tip number 1 in the setup. Get those toes out. That'll allow you to turn the hips a little bit more. Change your aim a little bit. That presets the turn, okay? And then also make sure that your hips and your shoulders are also slightly rotated. All right, now let's talk about the second thing here. And as I always say, hey, be sure to leave some comments. If you like what I have to say or if you don't like what I have to say, that's okay. I love hearing from you as well. And some of my best ideas on what to talk about are coming from you. So now, the direction of the backswing, let's talk about that. Because traditional coaching, standard coaching, which is good coaching, right? That's good coaching, but it's built for younger golfers, lots of it, right? Because that's typically what we see. The hot things, the new things, where do they come from? They come from the players who are playing the best on the tour, right? We're not playing the tour and we can't move like tour pros. So what do we see a lot of instruction right now? Like I said, it's not bad instruction, but it's designed for younger golfers. And what that is that's a lot of lead arm, left arm for me, low and back and behind us, and getting the swing what we call really deep. Deep is a phrase you might hear, and that means getting the hands super low, not low, but back and behind us so we can really rotate hard on it. Now, rotating is difficult as we get older. So as an experienced golfer, I like the word experienced, not old. Experienced golfer, what I want you to do, and what I tell my students to do, is I want them to take their lead arm, and I want that lead arm to work more straight back and more up. Now I call this the vertical line system. This is what I teach my students as they get older to help them get more club head speed. Traditional coaching, good coaching, but designed for the younger player, is more deep and around. Vertical line swing coaching for the older golfer, the experienced golfer, is more straight back and up, okay? Now, I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to use the live view as a good, because this is important. One of the things we need to get more club head speed is we need length to our swing. And if rotation is not one of the options, because we can't move like we used to, the direction of the swing can also give us some length. Watch me do this. This is going to really help you out. This is gold stuff right here. So, got my live view. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my lead arm and I'm going to rotate it and I'm going to keep it deep. Okay? Traditional coaching, young golfers. Now, notice on the live view right there, notice where my hands are. They're barely to the middle of that window. You can see it. Okay? And that's about all I got. But if I just take my lead arm, I'm not going to move my hips or my shoulders at all, but if I just take my lead arm and I move it out this way, okay, ooh, I can even feel the tension release. Okay, now I can get it to here. Okay? Traditional coaching, young golfers, that's all the further I got. I see guys and gals like this all day long in the driving range, especially at retirement communities. They're all right here. Okay? Moved right there. See that? Now I got some length to my swing. And with length is going to come speed, accuracy, tempo, rhythm, everything. So, tip number two. Tip number two, when you take that back, get your lead arm working more straight back and what I call vertical. It's the vertical line method. That can really help you get some length to your swing. So that's tip number two. Now, let's talk about the third tip here. And I'll be curious to hear what you think about that lead arm. Try it out a little bit. Give me some feedback. Let me know if it's working for you. It's working wonders for me here at the Academy. There are three basic power sources in the golf swing. And not to dive super deep into this, but basically they're this. They're rotation, okay, rotating. There's a lot of sports where you get speed by rotating. You know some of those sports, okay. There's what we call vertical. There's up and down, basketball, volleyball, even tennis serving, right? There's vertical, okay. And then the third one is what I like to just call sway or side to side. Okay, and I don't like the word sway because there's a lot of negativity around the word sway in golf. But it's basically shifting your weight from side to side. So you think of like throwing a ball. When a quarterback throws a ball, he starts on his lead foot, goes to his trail foot, and then he throws it. It's the movement of weight from lead to trail that can create some speed and some power. Now the rotation can do that, and the vertical can do that. But those require certain physical characteristics in order to do those, which typically we don't have a lot of as we age. So the key here is you got to use the one that's available to you, and that's the side to side. So here's how you're going to do it. Now, got the live view here. This is why I love using the live view. Okay, from the face on right there. Okay, here we go. So what you can see now, this is my standard setup right here. Okay, I'm going to take my lead hip and I'm going to bump it a little bit this way. Now you can see that from the live view there. Now why am I doing that? Because I want to access that side-to-side power source. So if I start with a little bit more weight on my lead foot, maybe say 60%. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm a huge proponent of the 60-40 split, 60%. Now, if I have 60 here, I can push that 60 towards my trail and start to turn. So very early I go from 60 to maybe 80. And it's that movement from side to side that can give me the power that I'm looking for. All right, so let's tie this together. Let's tie all this together, and then I want to give you a bonus tip here at the end. So here's what we've got. These tips are specifically for the experienced golfer, right? Not the old golfer. I'm not old, you're not old. Experienced is the word. So we get set in, toes out. There we go. We're going to preset the rotation with the aim of the feet, the hips, and the shoulders. All right, there we go. We're going to take that lead hip and we're going to bump it so we get more weight on the lead foot. And then in the backswing, we're going to go lead arm vertical, weight towards trail foot. Let me go ahead and hit one. Here we go. Got the setup, toes are out. Lead arm is going to go vertical, weight from left to right. All right, pretty good right there. So those are the 3 tips that I wanted to give you in terms of creating more club head speed for senior golfers. Now, I promised you a bonus tip here at the end. So here's my bonus tip. This, quite honestly, I don't even know why it works. I can just tell you it works, okay? And here's what it is. Let me tee another golf ball up. And this is what I call the hover drill. I use this all of the time for a variety of things. So here's what you're going to do. First thing you're going to do is you're going to make 3 practice swings. I like to do what I call 3 setters. You get set in there, get the club head up here at about knee high, shin high, right? Notice it's above the ball. And I'm just going to make 3 swings back and through. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Now, you can tell what's going to happen immediately is you're going to feel freedom in your arms. The arms are a great resource for speed, okay? And when you do that, you're going to feel your arms relax. You're going to feel some speed. Then what you're going to do is just get your setup. You already know what to do in your setup, and you're going to take the driver, and you can see it in the live view there. See how it's just hovering? Now I'm going to go ahead and swing it. Boom. I got a little bit more arm speed there. So when you start thinking about hitting the golf ball further, and you start thinking about suggestions and tips, you better start thinking about, are these tips for experienced golfers or younger golfers? What we just talked about here today is going to help those golfers who are getting a little bit older, but also still have some resources to help you hit your driver a little bit further.